Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back again and welcome to another video, and this is a video response for nready. He did a top 10 90s horror list last week sometime, I think it was, and finally got around to doing a response for you, mate. Really great idea. But before I get into my list, I'll be leaving nready's channel link in the description box below. If you're not subscribed to him, please head on over. He loves discussing movies. He does a great bunch of videos and is quite knowledgeable on movies, horror, etc. So well worth subbing to if you haven't already. So this list was pretty tough for me to do, and in fact I was kind of thinking, shit, I should not have promised to do this response because I was really struggling with it. You know, I'm quite knowledgeable when it comes to 80s horror and a lot of modern stuff, but I completely suck when it comes to 90s horror movies. I just don't know the horror movies that well from that time period. So yeah, I mean, it's not the most popular time frame for horror, but yeah, I was pretty shocked that I pretty much suck when it comes to 90s horror movies. So, you know, I did sort of struggle with this one. There's a lot of sequels in this video. But yeah, not an easy task. But anyway, this is my top 10 90s horror movies. So we're going to start at number 10 and work my way down to my all-time favourite. Alright. So sitting at number 10 goes to Brain Scan with Edward Furlong. This is really underrated, definitely one of the most underrated horror movies from the 90s, so definitely check it out if you haven't. It's sort of a light-hearted horror movie, I guess. Edward Furlong plays the main character. He's a boy or a teenager obsessed with video games, and basically he buys this video game and starts playing with it, and a character from the game basically tries to get him to kill and hurt people. So, Brain Scan. Next up we have a Wes Craven movie, The People Under the Stairs. Again, this is very underrated in my opinion. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I've seen the movie many times before and always really enjoy it. So, number 9, People Under the Stairs. Number 8 goes to Peter Jackson's Dead Alive or Brain Dead. Fantastic cover art. But yeah, this is a really good film. It's not my favourite Peter Jackson movie. I'm not quite sure where I'd rank it in terms of stuff he's done. It's definitely one of my favourites, but anyway, this is a really good 90s horror movie, extremely gory and a lot of fun. Lost count. I always lose count in these top lists. Yeah, number 6 goes to Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. This is really good. I'd go as far to say as this is probably one of the most, if not the most, underrated horror anthology. It's one of my personal favourite anthologies. I really enjoy the stories on this. There's 3 short stories, and it's sort of all told through this young boy who's being held like in a kitchen, he's sort of imprisoned in a kitchen, and this old lady plans to cook him, and he sort of recites these stories. Really good. You know, horror anthologies, normally some of the stories aren't that great, but in this one I really enjoy all the stories. So yeah, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Okay, number 5 goes to the Tom Savini remake of Night of the Living Dead. Fantastic remake and one of my favourite zombie movies of all time. Number 4 goes to Children of the Corn 2. Ignore Children of the Corn 3, it's a piece of shit, but this is the only release I own of Children of the Corn 2 in this double pack. Fantastic sequel. This took place, or this was filmed almost 10 years, I think, after the original film, and not as good as the original, of course, but for a sequel it's easily the best in the franchise. I really enjoyed it. It's sort of a lot more brutal than the first film, and a lot more of the Corn kids do the killing, which I really liked that aspect of the film. But yeah, a great sequel, Children of the Corn 2. Sitting at number 3 goes to Halloween H2O. When I originally compiled my list, I'm very ashamed to say this wasn't on it. I'd actually completely forgot that this came out in the 90s. I know, naughty, slap on the wrist. But yeah, it wasn't until I actually saw Joe's video that I thought, shit, I was so close to not including it. But yeah, I mean, it's a Halloween movie. It's one of the best Halloween sequels in my opinion. A great sort of finale to the Laurie Strode storyline. And yeah, it was just a fantastic addition to the franchise. You know, Jamie Lee Curtis came back, and supposedly Michael Myers got killed off. This is where the original franchise should have ended. But yeah, this is a great movie and one of my favourite Halloween films. So Halloween H2O. Okay, down to my top 2. I'm sure anyone is been expecting this to come up watching this video, and you know, of course it is. It was a given. As soon as I saw nready's video, I knew I was going to include this. So number 2 spot goes to the original Scream. What can I say about this film that hasn't been said several times before? It is a great movie. I absolutely love it. You know, it sort of balances great throwbacks to the slasher genre from the 80s. It brings a bit of comedy element into it. A ton of fun, great characters. Really awesome kills. Of course, it introduced us to Ghostface, and most importantly of all, it brought back the slasher genre. So there was no question that this was going to be included in my top 10 list. I had to do it. So Scream sits at number 2. And sitting at number 1 goes to Child's Play 2. Easily my favourite movie, or favourite horror movie from the 90s. I grew up watching this. It was one of the very first horror movies that I saw, and I can clearly remember when I was browsing the VHS section in my local video store for the first time when I was a kid. This was the very first cover that I got attracted to out of all the horror VHS covers. Saw it, immediately picked it up, and yeah, this is the movie that I wanted to rent out. I ended up renting the first one out before this one, but then after watching that I returned it straight away and rented this one out and loved it. I do prefer it over the original, but yeah, just a fantastic movie. Absolutely love this one. So Child's Play 2 sits at number 1 for me. So that is my top 10 of 90s horror. Yeah, and I just wanted to give a quick honourable mention to one film. I don't actually own it, but I've seen it quite a few times, and that is Cube. I think it came out around 1996 or 1997. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was within that time frame. And you know, it was a brilliant film. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's basically about these group of people that are put into this massive lot of cubed rooms. A lot of the rooms are booby-trapped, and basically they have to go through the rooms and try and escape. Really, really good. There's some nasty kills in it, some great traps throughout, and yeah, it's just a really, really good movie. So honourable mention goes to Cube, and I really need to pick that up at some point as well. But anyway, that is my video for you, nready. I hope you've enjoyed it. Once again, guys, if you're not subscribed to nready, I'll be leaving his channel link in the description box below. Please check him out, and while you're at it, why not do a video response? So, hope everyone's enjoyed the video, and thanks a lot for watching.